hello, the 26 sounds of the English language have a better than living relationship to themselves. They are 26 bonded identities, just as if there were 26 bonded cells of a living organism. And note the cell nuclear cell body and cell wall as and note how the cell walls connect and how body of eye discernment is in demonstration of an actually scientifically discernible identity of relativity. And this relevant to where we have fact treatment nature and treatments of positive or negative, treatments of metaphysics in relationship to names of people, not by accident simultaneously having left out how all of those sciences and those campuses of each age and nature, like all locations and businesses, like all the juxtaposed overt criminal enterprises and nations sharing policing of that and state positions in relationship to the market's positions. Value nature systems, all now tactically ulterior, specifically to they made. So English has 26 sounds that have an identity of relationship to themselves, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously, the way they are bonded. So you see the video on the forever nature, the forever flower, which the little rap crying friends will do better with. But see this that is about the cartoon value nature system. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not police force. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a judge. But this is about conviction nature and where and how it is evidence originally and still how. For example, the judges with which trials the pseudo ratiocination recorded. I observed it through CNN. Um, the the hearings and through time, their roles with the uses of the identities of the law and of each person, each identity, the ground location, each position in relationship to it, to each area or state, area, location, area, and state is really originally still criminally foreign influenced as victims that where everyone is forced to react to it as fact treatment nature, where everyone already did react to it as fact treatment nature in this trap. They had to react as victims, not knowing how to react, and then justifying that as fact treatment nature, as identity they need to make to seek positive sustain through its system, now tactically ulterior, in layers. Everyone invested and can't defend their quality of time treatments, their quality of premises treatments, and allow mandated law. And then if someone speaks about that, they more and more have to hide what they did, which was subtle, but it's like why are crimes, male crimes, are subtle. Persons say, "Oh, I don't know that person really like that." Then people that would have to speak about. I have to speak about other people I don't even know their names of. Maybe they took a picture of me next to. I walked by one of the people with the interbranch families associated with the schools I went to. They're recorded involved with the identity thefts, frauds, and worse than just racketeering, and worse than war crimes, intermilitary. See, with titles blind, we have the same people pretending to be about integrity as treatments of positive that they would never write in law. Because then that would create problems there because people get over on exception nature, where they're pseudo positive as criminal insidious nature, which demonstrably the all states, all positions I, I had to be on a location, area, and state when this was just a colony. Every over there too, England was for what is Connecticut now. We were the possession of England in a value nature system where England's identity was forced to not talk about the other nations that were involved here, there too. Not their real identity. They were forced to be like that too. They're here. So before modern religions, messengers were even born. Before the founding parents of modern nations were born, we were in a semi-ancient trap where nations were grouped, were taken individually grouped and together in good, but tactically to make it locked, ulterior, unfathomable how we could fix how we were supposed to be grouped. And take that, because that's a natural volume that is relevant to logic with no criminal foreign influences and with scientific process and with scientific consensus, actually with no criminal foreign influences. And this is what used that to be self-valued by everyone else. All the identity, the ground locations are not that which invested perpetual use of such, which is in relationship to databases too, since before computers, which is critical to know because this is an identity ground. All locations, areas, and states made sense and sensibilities worse than that, worse than just standing criminal and seditious natures. Incapable, not realizing as victims, everyone taken from understanding logic with no criminal foreign influences, this is relevant to five identities of sequence nature that are inseparable from themselves for what is actually observable. And so I'll draw this on paper. I have to finish my book. I kept having computer problems. I have this computer fixed with duct tape. So, but this is what it's need to be. These sounds were revealed by ancients before criminal re-engineering of the nature of internation sciences, and so a fact-cheating nature value of them by the sciences of locations and areas before modern religions were even born. This is why Jesus Christ had to have the cipher, which is overtly too. Why he had the capital A drawn. Why he had the capital double, that's just a phenomenon. It's the same last name. My initials. But Anthony Wall, but this is Romulus Wall. This youtube.com/user/Romulus Wall. So this is algebraic consciousness, which I believe they would call what is logic's actual course. Now, see, we have psychology recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Involved also, when I use terms like delusions, I never had conversations with doctors about this. I asked someone who wasn't a doctor. And I asked the doctor to help with people who asked me for help because of courts involved with insidious and overtly criminal uses of them. Now with uses of locations. These are identity of the ground, relationships to our quality of fact-achieving nature. Now, these are locations that were confessed and demonstrated involved with juxtaposed natures of organized crime, of child abuse with kids. When I was a kid, intercampuses connected. Now, this is subtle. This is where and how now how we could discern this. True, always and not deny exceptions. Also reveals how exceptions and how exception nature is already maintained self-value. Roles with fact-achieving nature, database tied, organized crime roles for a breaching method since before our founding parents were born. And then everyone as victims, awe, shock and awe. See, and this makes people throws up. Well, then people entertain uses of that, and they have to defend that. Freedom is freedom is a course of unobstructed and connected revelations. The campus Marcius is about the concentration, the expansion of. See, we have the republic for which we stand, still not for which we stand. It is criminally foreign influenced. They are recorded using effectively fake sides of body of value discernment with uses of Mr. Kaepernick as a victim, which is in sequence, but also simultaneously. And see, but that's where when victims blame the wrong things in wrong themselves and or others, then they take defense of fact-achieving nature, which is fine if everyone would then allow mandated law followed. Because there are also various natures of uses of the sensibilities and sensibilities with legal people in relationship to their opinions as conviction natures formal. For example, relationship to the FTC, recorded and involved with this method of databases worse than war crimes, organized crime, simple method. They're making opinion about in a perfect world, you would be able to have courts solve things. But they're the ones being told on here, not one court at the same time, and for their areas crimes, their wire crime rules and methods by that. That's how they were used remotely originally and still, and that's how the other nations are too. That's how they're kept needing to hide the same sequence shifts, finite lies, active lies, progressive lies, identity thefts, frauds, and racketeering lies with the overt criminal enterprises, with their patients and criminals before they got caught. Not by accident, a whole bunch of methods of liars, of needs to lie, or of capabilities only capable of it. Roles not even realizing identity theft. They don't even understand identity. So we have intercities, hospitals, and identities of experts of psychology recorded through time, intercampuses of each age and nature, each stature of campus, from off campuses maintained effectively on off campuses in layers, further and further criminally foreign influence, uses of themselves remotely, forging names, switching names. In a perfect world, you'd be able to call up over the phone and complain about things, things. Where they have physical delusions too. So we have a lot to learn in America because these are the same people involved with crimes, with houses, not just the word crimes. That's also a word. The branches need to be retrained here. They need to be liberated here. And that's in every nation at once. We're in a trap a fact treatment nature trap where it's invisible but still discernible as one identity that all the letters share is discernible, because don't forget there's sounds that were revealed with an identity, as an identity, the English language as a grouped identity. The sounds of the languages have a living, better than living identity, just like we do, individually grouped in together. They are valued that way because one individual identity of value progression also is one identity of volume that is also an inherent active and progressive, three semi-natures, and observation of how reveals its identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that, of the discernment of what we're not supposed to agree on the name of, but individually grouped and together. We already, that's why and how we agreed to grouped use English. Little England alone didn't invent English. It was what revealed. See, the ancient internation sciences, before they were criminally foreign influenced, they realized how to be valued to the individual, locations, areas, and states. They realize value has all values that are discernible, individually grouped it together. They have a value/value nature relationship to themselves inside, while as values increasing nature, positive or negative. We are positive or negative contribution to forever's complete, perfect memory. So that being good or bad is increasing. That's per science. So heaven and hell are scientific variables. Leith of Hadith is demonstrably, most probably, and demonstrably by the ancients, force space nature transfer. And nature being this identity of value progression, its identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that, which is value two ways further discernibly, bonded to and as five inseparable identities of sequence nature, and the value of the identity of its identity of relationship to itself, the complete volume that is before bigger and that is after bigger, what is right now all identities of value progression from here throughout all space, individually grouped and together, where one identity of forever is making more identity of forever, and only increases in volume. There are proofs, is most probable, is most practical, is most beneficial to assume that the ancients revealed together, and they put. See, this also has to assume it is probably, there's a theory that yin yang was revealed before who preserved it, and who preserved it didn't have free speech. How could they have free speech? All locations, areas, and states are recorded, needing to hide lie progressions in relationship to the integrity that was unveiled as the republic for which we stand, as its identity of relationship to Latin laws, as its relationship to, like English and like the rest of the sciences, their identity or ground, locations, self-value abridged through relationships to like jobs like certifying people to teach schools, such, certifying people to do industries, such, certifying people to be fire people, ambulance people. Now, don't forget though, this is in since before cars. And right here in Weathersfield, Connecticut, George Washington had to come here and leave slavery entrenched between New York and Boston. And New York had it sickly. Boston had, they're not going to leave the true records. They weren't allowed. This is phases that James Madison figured a plan to jump into with a prayer. Forget about holding on to something they never won it. There's only one way to fix the urban areas throughout the world, like New York City. It is using the identity the sciences share. It is using a quality of fact-keeping nature that is allowing to be heard American history truths, offensively, not by accident, self-valued roles with what stayed to keep maintain everyone staying, glorification of our founders' stolen identities in our face overtly and insidiously simultaneously. Now that's all the locations. When people say, "Oh, the identity of this agency is good, that agency is good," they have a whole bunch of agencies. You got people there too. They want to make just the identity of the ground location. The police departments, where and how they are corrupt, it is because of how they have FBI, CIA, their family members, all private. So this person's wife. This guy's a detective. His wife works with the children. She's an expert on mental health. Those women and men with badges and guns, and judges, and prosecutors and their kids, and military families, and a whole bunch of nations. Then they have people working in the sciences. Forgiveness is for how we have all these victim predators. Everyone's speaking through other people. No one's following mandated law. They they they, they they're like they're involved with maintained child abuse, a certain kind of it, specifically for each branch of government, specifically for journalists, how they maintain them, trying to verify information. And then making mistakes, pretending they have to hide it for they're kept every position is kept in collusion, preventing free speech in our faces. You don't have to sue for free speech. And see, they're saying sue because they have their recorded uses of the various natures of courts to pretend things recorded into databases, to attach people to falsified police reports with police from a whole bunch of different towns. So then, if they try to go back, no, they have all we made mistakes. We don't know what happened. Now these are people these are people exploiting their roles with East Hartford and police forms from former director of the FBI down, involved with predicate acts roles with people who went to schools with me, intercities tied. And through time, through Central Connecticut State University, involved with inter-child campuses, grammar schools, enter grammar schools, and younger than that. They have roles with a database, organized crime method that also has other people through this further and further juxtaposed to their own natures, needs, interests, to stave knave, quality of fact cheap nature, worse than just as criminal and specious nature, and then defending that as sense and sensibilities as positive as styles of liars. Needed to value other people, needed to value interbranch identity thefts, frauds, racketeering. They can't defend themselves and sequence shifts. They can't defend themselves and us at the same time. They can't follow mandated law. New Britain Superior Court has recorded, confessed, and demonstrated uses of YouTube, uses of Facebook, roles with former director of the FBI, other agencies and their family members, prosecutors and their family members, lying about what and having lied about what is actually recorded online, because they're actually recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a pattern of predicate acts delivery system method roles on off ends of highways, intercities connected, on off campuses like Central Connecticut State University, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people I never had a conversation with in grammar school, involved with a Gold family. And then you start getting in families that you never had conversation with. They've been pretending other with my police chief's family. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they're locking the timed ad placements, like on Bravo with the guy tied to Anderson Cooper in Manhattan. They're also tied to my town's police chief and the ad they have, and to black and white officers and judges, black and white female judges, two female judges and one black, and a whole bunch of male and female prosecutors and judges retired and standing. Connected predicate acts roles, sequence shift roles, identity thefts, frauds, worse than racketeering roles, worse than war crimes. They have military families involved with this through time. They have a database tied to all along routes and roads from right where George Washington had to come and leave slavery, even with the French general's help. That sick method of slavery against everyone that they not by accident don't explain. If they explain that, everyone would be a quality of fact cheating nature that's less criminally foreign influenced. There would be agreements to reliefs and means to it that are unfathomable by the identity racketeering natures originally instilled, that are the subject of American history, are the subject of America now, and are the subject of America to come. That will be done. So, the 26 sounds of the English language have an identity relationship to themselves. This is bigger than forever. This is smaller than zero, smaller than three identities of zero, and is bigger than infinity. At the same time, coming right to left and left, to right into and as this temporary / lasting value nature, value progression system, individually grouped and together bonded, making more and more three identities of forever nature, zero, increasing. So one is temporary / lasting forever nature, which is positive or negative to itself. In this value progression, bigger than while being the value of existence, forever's identity. So the sounds of the languages are grouped, even down to Allah's name was revealed to teach with English. For example, about the longing on the left side of M, mother, the 13th, right in the middle of the 26 sounds and the 26 identities of the 26 identities of relationships to themselves and individually grouped in together. We have them all individual letters. Some are consonants, some are vowels, grouped. A, B, and C are grouped. They're bonded, but it's really like the cells of a heart are grouped. The cells of the rest of the body are grouped. They're in each individual cells too. And then there's the complete identity. Each individual is a complete identity of volume. Each person simultaneously is in relationship to this identity of value progression that is in demonstrated can only stay complete. So it has to keep us grouped and species. And then that's further positive or negative. See, we have logic involved with where and how various natures of courts, especially probate courts, distinctly and non-distinctly, but then especially the other courts, distinctly and non-distinctly too, sickly. Because there's an identity of relativity here, that they were made to self-value, uses of identities in relationship to what prevents it to everyone, made them roles, made them methods by one method. That all we have to do is allow free speech to demonstrate it, have it demonstrated. So we could have this quality of fact treatment right now. Say, well, what if you're wrong? So what we do, we use pantheism too. So we have to do this as a distinctly and non-distinctly and simultaneously nations. We have to do this ourselves, America. But we have to do it in a way and talk and understand how our fact treatment nature quality is in relationship to people that were peaceful positions to make quality of fact treatment nature justifications of convictions in relationship to positive treatments, identity treatments. They can't make it and afford free speech and mandated law in the hands of honesty. So they have been stealing our identities offensively. Everyone. It's all right. They have opinion. Other. See, well, that's why we're supposed to have mandated law. CNN. You're supposed to. I'm going to pick you guys to fight. What? You guys. I asked you. I asked the Connecticut media tied to you, tied to people also involved with ad placements, not just with in ILO's home services. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the courts and with their family members and with the people all intercities. I never had a class with him. They also did a tricky little thing the only time I saw him on campus, Joe Aiello and his sister. That was recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with others with predicate acts on off Trinity College and or wrongdoing in relationship to that. Predicate acts roles, and with houses next to the Trinity College on Zion Street and on New Britain Avenue, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with him in fire departments intercity and Weathersfield Parks And there's a strange thing between Randy Lane and Meadowgate, where one road that doesn't stop switches the name of the road switches, and there's a Kerr family that is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people in the Britain Superior Court and by Hartford courts and by other courts involved with them with human trafficking. Like, I never met that kid in my grammar school. They pretended other. They use that corner. They use that corner with an Alcin mode. No, that's a those also the Mogman. I believe it's a Mogman. A Mogman. I never had a conversation with the Mogman girl. Verbal. They use right at that location, and all their confessions right before that about their roles, what's actually recorded. They have federal crimes with judges and roles with judges and with prosecutors, overt criminal enterprises, and falsified police reports in the past tied to the ones recorded now, that they were stacking falsified into databases, uses of databases now electronic and stewards of them, roles with what originally and still used all identity ground locations, criminally foreign influence. It's not the Wethersfield police chief alone and his daughter and her extended family. It's not just their motivations with that corner where the Exxon gas station is, where they're reportedly involved with putting up another Mazzucato bakery that is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with people I don't know that pretended other. Also with the other bakery involved with predicate acts roles with sex offenders' families. Also on off the Wethersfield town offices involved with them. Also on off religious locations involved with them. These are strangers that more and more I'm having to use their names because when I go to court, they keep stacking falsified police reports and say they make mistakes and switching the officers' names, switching the towns they're from. So they have a whole bunch of faked officers. They have a whole bunch of people with Central Connecticut State University recorded involved with remote uses of the Obama military, of the Obama, of every agent, every that CCSU, and that involved with that was involved with these people attaching me to fake locations, fake words, and fake relationships to people I don't know at all. With that same child campus involved further then and now with my town's police chief, with Anderson Cooper, and with that guy who says he's the evil one next to him, and with the ad placements on Bravo. Bravo, please do what's right, and free speech, and get WFSB to remove me from the lies they attach me and others to. Also with doctors about kids, attach me to fake relationship to doctors since I was a kid. Those same doctors spread lies, attach, share steal their identities, and worse, of other kids, attach them to falsified police reports roles with prosecutors, their drug cliques, their sexual circles, everyone speaking to other as victim predators, as ones involved with with the World Trade Center before it, in the context now, in the context of the Trade Center attack, and since it, and now. And they know that these things aren't nice things to talk about, so they do it so they can lie about your behavior too. This is not free speech defense. They have to pretend other by pretending emotions and passions with criminal foreign influences. They know that all those nations involved with UPS are involved with the same rat mob thing here and there. They're all victim predators. When it's the title's job, they're reliant upon others. There was no one ever there. Only the sophistication of what shows them how to get away with it, being fake. Now, see, they're not. They have the former director of the FBI is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated uses of the FBI with other people, also involved with Mueller, used the uses of Congress itself, used they're recorded using YouTube's sensibilities, the leaders of it, to hide their own. See, they're able to do this too because they have judges, various natures of courts involved already with predicate acts with Russians. They're involved here, there, and here with hospitals. They've been for attaching people to fake words with people involved with them with all natures of crimes. And then they're the ones that pretend that those are the people with their patients and criminals involved with them needed to hide life aggressions because their roles using databases for their own self-valued by themselves, criminally foreign influenced. That's why we have Wethersfield Police Chief recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with leading up to the World Trade Center attack. In the context of it, inside the Ninth Circuit, they're also proven since sequence shifts have been post-dated actually on time. Documents to the Ninth Circuit right next to the World Trade Center towers right before they were taken out. They showed them post-dated from inside the court to appear as if they hadn't been time-stamped on time. That was proven after the Trade Center attack. That went into a 2006 case. Already there was a pattern of predicate acts actually recorded. There is a pattern of predicate acts already recorded and tied to confessions from strangers involved with also recorded. There are male and female judges associated with a black man I don't know the name of. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a Mike Roberts. And Mike Roberts is also recorded, confessed, demonstrated involved with New Britain Superior Court, dozens of people, Hartford courts, people on off the state judicial branch offices. They were both used as victims to hide sequence shift because there's another one with the name Bayrock that is involved also with them before that. And with a whole bunch of predicate acts with the databases. That was when I was older. See, they've been using black and white with prosecutors and with judges who do things they pretend they're perceiving prejudice. But what is it? They can't speak it because if they speak it, they're going to be recorded for what they're actually recorded doing, which is women judges also roles with child offenders. Also predicate acts with black and with Confederate flag themed military police, like an MPO Floyd, and like ones associated with a Justin Klavinskis, also with dozens of people in New Britain Superior Court involved with predicate acts with him, and with a serial killer, with the person of a serial killer involved with predicate acts with them, also with medical racketeering, foreign to domestic. People from Normandy Heights and people from Rocky Hill apartments and people all along South Steen Highway recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with wrongdoing and sequence shifts, wire crime rolls, falsified police report rolls with Connecticut Interbranch. People then who had to hide the life progressions by having that guy there, right when I was jogging by there. Also with Enzo Faenza recorded involved with predicate acts with the Interbranch police and their family members. And the judges on and off in the Britain Superior Court, on and off the state judicial branch offices. That's with the Spada family. Also with the judges with the Della Fair family, recorded, confessed, involved with them with identity thefts, frauds, racketeering. They're doing this positive and negative. They're lying about what is positive and negative because their roles with this identity racketeering, worse than that they're preventing free speech here and there. They're forcing black to be black and white to be white, and everyone keep your mouth shut about the invisible but discernible with this. The whole function of it is this identity of value progression discernment system. Now, you can believe what you want or not, but follow mandated law. They also attach people to fake yelling when we didn't yell. They do that by criminally putting themselves involved before things bad happen with areas. When they happen, there are roles with it. These are the same ones involved with the shootings in the north end of Hartford. The judges, the prosecutors involved with it. Remote uses other locations next to Trinity College and next to Central Connecticut State University. These programs, foreign and domestic, with it. They're sick here and there. So we can follow mandated law so it doesn't have to hurt here more than it needs to, because that's what they need to do. That's what the proverbial devil does with this crime method. They're not going to have the right to pretend integrity because they have a statute saying they have to do that because it's too expensive otherwise. They're gonna because that's a criminal reading of it through criminal foreign influences. That's employed breaching position roles, sensibilities, breaching screens. I don't care if you fought for this or you do that or this is this job. Oh, I'm the security officer. They have the security officers also involved with their agencies and their family members and the buildings next to. And as the one with Fox Connecticut News, why do you have to make me beg you every day? I'm going to play more phone games with you. I told you, fix the fake news you told about me and get me from the fake words and fake locations WFSB attached me to. And get me a response for these courts forging names and switching names. And so you can't respond to it and attaching me and others to fake words with the branches of government each. Now it's a whole bunch of police forms with the criminal uses of the Wethersfield Police Department, not just the Wethersfield Police Chief and all the retired and standing with them, like a Dillon family. Also, there are numbers of people in the DeMorrow family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with predicate acts with the Wethersfield Police Department all along the South Stein Highway, all along, and with as their roles with the people with predicate acts with them on and off Fox Connecticut News, on and off the buildings next to them, on and off the garage next to them, like with a Thaddeus Grabowski, like with these two Mendez police, further involved with police equipment, racketeering acts, roles on and off the Wethersfield Police Department, on and off the Britain Superior Court. I told this kid I was going to come right through him playing these games with these punk cops. You dirty motherfuckers, you fucking coward punks. You get a response for the military families too with this Justin Kovinskis motherfucker. What's your wife's last name? You keep the fuck away from fucking pretending you know me, motherfucker. Now get someone onto paper, get them from the names forging and switching, because this is where you can't defend you can't pretend you're about the law and you can't follow mandated law now. Now you've been lying about what's recorded over online. You've been lying about what's recorded on the wire crimes, as these ones roles also with criminal uses of victims of the World Trade Center before it, in it, and since too, and against me. So, but you want me to use other people's names because you can't follow mandated law. And you lie about what's actually recorded you put fake conversations on your locations, Wethersfield Police, with this officer, the older Mendez brother, and the other one involved with human trafficking also. A whole bunch of people tied to a Yardman family are also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with predicate acts with on and off campuses with a Mendez family. I never saw them on my high school campus once in my life. Never saw him on any of my campus. I saw him one time. I saw him off campus and one time on campus in middle school, real fast. Now, let's get they put me in fake quotes. The older one. Now he did that with. He's involved with juxtaposed other natures of racketeering with, and also further sexual crimes with a principal sex offenders campus, and with a whole bunch of people tied to the Britain Superior Court and to Hartford courts and their family members involved with uses of people on that curve like that are also involved with this Mogman family, and the people with all along that route that goes by the state judicial branch offices and those locations where the Battiston's cleaner are, and that Zano family with a Kalal family who has a Phil Kalal recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with federal crimes, with child offenders, even sexual and medical, with forensics locations, also with other extended family members of the same house involved with them, with juxtaposed natures of predicate acts with judges and prosecutors. So we have them also with uses of the witness protection programs ties to the area. They have uses of that. See, they're going to lie about, and they're going to keep problems with areas going on. You're going to see how they're recorded actually. So you have to follow mandated law. Please do it for them, YouTube. Please be bigger than those agents. We're talking about the database says this. Get them from the names, forging and switching into branch. They use records like that. They use the switching, the executive branch and the judicial branch distinctly and not distinctly. They use it individually grouped. And together they have like this former mayor Gold. They have criminally foreign influenced information fed to Congressman Larson to keep him a victim, to keep him a victim predator. That's why I don't not take it personal, Mr. Larson. Please respond for the Mike Domain, Adam Domain, his family members recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved also with two Mendes police and with Allison Mulcahy and her family members and neighbors with federal crimes with judges and with prosecutors. The house is on Hangdog Lane. Look at the name of that street. I tell you, the science is sharing identity. So you have to be able to speak about this simultaneously, because this identity of simultaneous nature is the subject of algebraic consciousness.